Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and we're here today doing the same thing we've been doing ever since we started the show, trying to make sense out of a senseless situation called the plight of veterans in the USA, and the USA with the plight of veterans. I'm waiting on my guests. We're going to have somebody show up. You know, we got to get on time. We got to get off that color folks time, get on standard Eastern time or whatever we need to do. But we're going to have to start learning how to get on time with the show because we're a few minutes late, but we're here. And I had a very disturbing call today when I was on the way to the show from the Atlanta VA Medical Center, where another veteran was going out there with his family to get care. Now, they kept him in the hospital. Family called because they was concerned that they put him in the hospital because he had recently had surgery, diabetic, and he was bleeding. So I told them take him back to the VA. So and they kept him, but they put him in the COVID unit, and the family is stressed out because the VA never informed them whether he had COVID when they checked him in or not. But if we put him on the COVID unit, then we got to be concerned for this veteran. We have to be concerned for the VA. Still underperforming the covenant that we have. We got a covenant. You know, we that special peculiar group that less than 1% of the population ever served in the U.S. military. So, but we serve for the freedoms that everybody else enjoy. And the U.S. military is the frontline first defense mechanism for our democracy. We make a pledge to the Constitution and the government that gives us these freedoms that we're supposed to have. So this covenant that veterans have, it's a covenant now because you go into the military service, and when you go in, they tell you if you have some kind of injury or disease as a result of that service, they would take care of you. You know, that's the covenant. And the family know it, community know it, and everybody know it. But we are not getting it for each and every veteran as it is due. You know, it should be equal treatment. That was the pledge of allegiance to the flag that we did every day we served in the military. And that's what I want to talk about today. We're going to talk about the claim system. We're going to talk about the VA. But I just had to say that because I want to put this on notice because we got another veteran at the VA right now that we are concerned with his treatment. And we should be concerned as a community and as families of veterans. This veteran family is out there with him. You know, his daughter has a young baby. He has a lot of underlying conditions, and they put him in a COVID unit. Yes, we need to be concerned. But the real deal is we got to be concerned about who we vote for. We got to be concerned with that. This vote is what keeps the democracy. And we've seen movements in this country over the last few years towards something other than a democracy. We're looking at some people being above the law every day. We are witnessing this on the World Wide Web. Everybody know now that there are some people that's above the law. You know, I always thought that you define crime by either an act of omission or commission. When you omit to enforce the law, that's a crime. You know, we got to be able to look at that. And when you do an act of commission, you committed a crime. The law should apply equally to everybody. But what we have done over the last few years, and I'm going to say for a minute now, we have elected people based on the party, our personalities, not vetted community leaders or community servants. And so we are moving away from the government that we serve to protect and promote as veterans. That's serious business to me, because we took an oath to defend this democracy and this country against all enemies, domestic and foreign. So we got to really be concerned when openly every day now on the World Wide Web, on TV, local radio, everywhere, we're seeing that some people are judged differently under the law than others. We have to be concerned with these issues as veterans. We got to be concerned with how we vote, who we vote for. Because right here in Atlanta, Georgia, now we're expecting our good friend and community servant Michael Julian Barnes to come in, but we got to keep the show going. We got to keep it moving. What is going on with the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam Memorial Project? Update, y'all. We got it together. I wish I could just shout out and thank all the people that have been working with this project and made it possible. Some of them are here in the show today. So we're happy about that. But what I just want to shout out to the whole task force. But I see Brother Michael, Dr. Michael Paula is here with us, and then we got my daughter here. We got one of the executives of the VA, and we got folks in the audience that need to be saluted. And I want to just thank all y'all for coming and showing up, because see, today we are faced with some local politician stuff that we need to deal with. Now, Councilman Bond is a community servant that went into politics. Some people that go into politics, they're not necessarily community servants. They might be community. We'll talk about that some other time. But we have to be careful with what we do with our vote. We need to vet some of these people that we're voting for. We are in political season in the United States right now. All across the United States, some state, some locality is taking votes. Veteran families, supporters of veterans, listen, we got to stand up for this democracy. We have to hold firm to what we made that pledge to. And we have to make sure our government is capable of doing more than one thing at a time. You mean to tell me you can send billions of dollars to war, but you cannot take care of people at VA hospitals? We got to make sense out of this, folks. Why is this happening? Because the people that we elect are appointing people that ain't doing their job. There's some good folks at VA. I work there, so I know there's a lot of good people out there. But what happens is that you got this element of a few that keep doing dumb stuff with veterans' lives. At 75 years old, I shouldn't be concerned when I go to the VA hospital. But I might not get medical treatment, and then the staff might jump on me. So we know that something is wrong at the Atlanta VA, and we need to think about the VAs across this country, because we got people working in these facilities that don't even have any respect for the covenant that the government has with veterans. Meaning you finish a successful tour of military service. And I'm going to tell you something. All give some, but some give all. You cannot serve in the U.S. military. Either branch you serve in, you're going to have to make a sacrifice. And you start making that sacrifice from the day you raise your hand and make that commitment. You ain't going to get no pay like the rest of the country. You automatically take a pay that don't make no sense right then. I can remember going into the military. I got a baby and a house. No. I got a wife. Making $68 a month. Right away. Boom. I had to take a pay cut. Now my wife got to go to work. She got to, try to make it. Well, I'm drafted. I got to, but you know what? I'll do it all over again. Because during this experience, I was blessed to meet some of the greatest people on planet Earth in the military. That dedicated, unselfish element of our society that so willingly raised their hand, you know, made that commitment, did that service. We shouldn't come back home with disability as a result of that service and be at the VA hospital, you know, trying to get care, but not getting any instructions, not being, where the bedside manners. What about informing the family what goes on with you? You know, why leave them in distress when they're already in distress about your health condition that you brought back home to them? Family gave you to the military. They went along with that sacrifice. You know, so they sacrifice along with you. That's what we're trying to say about the Sons of Atlanta. That's what we're trying to get people to understand, that these young men should be honored in their hometown. Because this is where they come from. You know, they should have some place in the community where the family can go uninhibited 24/7. Sometime in a place where they can just sit with their spirits, with their loss. Go to Sons of Atlanta website, y'all, for real. Look at the faces. Look at the 240 some soldiers. Look at some of these young men didn't make it to be 21 years old. The vast majority of them did not live to be 21. I turned 21 years old in a foxhole in Vietnam and came back traumatized when they weren't even recognizing war trauma. You know, Patton thought that was a weakness. You know, the military may make it hard for you to go on sick call if you got an issue. So the family is what stands with veterans when they go into the military and to the grave. Going to the military and to the grave. You have to go into the military and to the grave. What has to be done is we got to realize that in some ways we got to be careful with what we do with our vote, because the vote that we have, that we don't use, that we don't exercise, and that people are trying to take away from us right now, is giving us the governments that we have. They're giving us the governments that we have. We have to believe that we got some kind of thing that matters when we have served in the U.S. military. Right now, to look at the Sons of Atlanta project and what the project gives for us is something that we got to be concerned with. We have to. We cannot allow ourselves to be distracted in any kind of way from these issues, because they show up in our family every day. When a veteran is ill and can't work and take care of himself, the VA is duty bound to make sure that he is taken care of. And I'm going to say in some cases, you know, they are. Most cases, they are. But too many, they're not. And we said liberty and justice for all. Equality in every way that we can think of that need to be had in a democracy is determined by your vote. Who we elect to represent us. Now, getting down to the city council in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, let me tell you what's going on there with the Sons of Atlanta. Councilman Bond and the large part of the city council has voted and adopted the Sons of Atlanta project. Put it in the budget for this year. Put it in the budget. Got to the finance committee. Then got past community development, but down in the finance committee, somebody, one politician, want to block the program funding this year. Now, why? We don't know. He say he's just doing his job. Well, what we want is to know what his job, how is his job related to us not getting the funding for the project. It is not just the covenant that we have. It's not just about the covenant that we have with veterans, the covenant that the government have with veterans. We're talking about our tax money now. You know, we pay taxes still. Every day we pay taxes. We listen, Patrick Henry had this issue with colonization. Taxation without representation was unacceptable then, and I think veterans should say it's unacceptable now. We got to find a way to vet these people that we are electing. I'm seeing some ads with people talking about this, that, and the other, and they find out they ain't what they say they are. You know, they done start vetting each other in the public, and we ain't even paying no attention. We getting these people in there. And let me say this here. The government can't stop inflation, but we can. Dr. King told us how to do that way back then. You know, he called it, I think he called it non-cooperating. Just stop cooperating with it, and it won't matter. You know, one of the things I always say that people sometimes should just fast. Just go on a 7-day fast. If everybody in America that felt the way I feel would go on a 7-day fast, inflation would drop in a week. Because you ain't buying nothing. You're not spending any money. Those people that charging you these prices, they got to keep their product. Bet you they bring the prices down. That's the way you deal with inflation. You know, we keep talking about these problems. We got the answers. What we have to do is come together in our community and vet these people that we are electing to office and the people that they are appointing, are hiring once they get in office. We went through a privatization period with the VA that's scary to me because they have outsourced concern. they have really outsourced the kind of concern that would vet a veteran coming into the hospital, and that would inform his family if he has COVID, and if he don't have COVID, why are you letting his family see you put him in a COVID unit? Somebody need to make sense out of this. And the only way we're going to make sense out of this is that we be careful how we vote and who we vote for. I don't want to vote for anybody that calls themselves a Democrat and that's who they're going to honor when they go to, after they're elected. I'm not electing the party. I'm electing the person. And I need to be able to elect whoever I want to elect, whether they're Democrat or Republican, and depend on that person being able to represent me. That don't mean I'm going to get everything I deserve through that representation, but I'm going to get some of what I deserve. I'm going to get equal treatment under the law. We just got to be concerned with where we put in our vote. The claim system, gone automated. And the trick now is they put your money in your bank account before they tell you what they done ruled on. So that's psychological. That's a psychological report to get you to be so happy that you got something that you don't look at being shortchanged. We really got to look at how that works. There used to be a time that you got the decision first, right? They tell you what they rule on and how much they rule on it, and then they gave you the compensation or the pension that you filed for. Now they got a new tactic. They just throw some money in your bank account, and if you're broke and you go to your bank account, you got some money in there. You don't tend to be too concerned right at that moment where it came from. That you get all you deserve. But you got to stop and read the opinions when you get them from VA. Because they have changed so many of the elements and how they approach the elements of a claim, and they're splitting your claims up. They split them up. They put one over here, and they're gonna process this one. So now I'm thinking that my claim has been satisfied, and what is going on, I still got to go to QTCs for part of the claim that I filed because they only rule on part of my claim. So that kind of threw me off a lot, and it got me going to the point that we need to make sure of what we are doing when we are vetting our candidates, making sure that we understand the candidates' role, experience, and loyalty records. What is he loyal to? Is it, you got a lot of people become activists in the community now because they want to start a riot during a protest. They get 30 of their buddies and get on the back of a truck in a U-Haul, going to disturb the peace. We have to be careful with how we do our vote. Now, what do we do with this automated claim system? Because it has so many good components that it's really leave us not knowing where to confront the bad parts of it. When they're making rulings that you want them to make, but they're only making part of the ruling, so that leaves you still out trying to develop a claim that they might already be decided. You got the money, but you didn't get the paperwork to explain where the money came from. How did the money get in your bank account? Very few people gonna ask that. They look at it for closing when they see VA CP. Know what that is? VA compensation. VA compensation. We have to be able to do what we start out to do with our claims. We have to be able to watch that claim and how it's being developed throughout the whole process of filing a claim. Now, one of the things that we recognize, and we want to recognize the families of two Vietnam veterans that just passed, that I was really close to. That's was Elijah Forbes and Edward MacArthur. Two brothers that I've known since my youth, or since my service. Their families have had their going home services, and so far at this point, MacArthur family is gotten their benefits. Eli benefits are still up in the air. We don't know where they're gonna fall, but we're gonna make sure that they are properly processed. And a lot of families don't know this, but now you can go to our website too, not the Sons of Atlanta website, but the chapter website, which is BVA chapter 1118.com. BVA chapter 1118.com. We have a package on there. It's that can help you organize this stuff in a way, and then you'll see what Eli also his service, and the family. Every veteran is due something at the end of his life. Every veteran, whether they are service connected or not. Some of it is only a tombstone, depending on if you want to be buried in a national or state cemetery. In most cases, that's free. If you choose to be buried in a state or national cemetery. Most of the time, if you got a surviving spouse, that surviving spouse is due some forms of income to support her for the rest of her life. And it varies in different cases because there are pension and there are compensation. In the pension case, well, it's not that much, but in this household base, but every veteran and his family is entitled to something at the end of the road. We need you to know that, so there's no confusion at the end of the day. That's a benefit that the veteran earned from their honorable military service. Now we are going back to the Sons of Atlanta again, because this has become really personal to a lot of people in Atlanta, because right now we are connecting with family members of some of the 240 individuals that we are honoring and memorializing. And see, I think sometimes some of the opposition comes from people thinking that we that we are actually talking about just all black African American veterans. No, we're talking about all veterans coming from every demographic, every racial group in our community. So it's not a racial discrimination. We're talking about all the veterans. And if you look at it, what you're going to see is veterans coming from every community that paid the ultimate price for the freedoms that we enjoy in this country every day. But this is the first time that this has been localized. This is the first time that we took names off the wall in D.C., which from Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia, and we are just honoring those, but acknowledging the whole 58,000 that was killed. But these people we know because they came from this hometown, and we are connecting with people that is feeling for the first time since their loved one was killed in action in Vietnam some honor, some value for that death, for that loss out of that family. And you know, the Smart family is one of those families. So we're just excited about the project, and we want to know why this finance committee chairman and the city council, the finance chairman in the city council is not doing what we elected them to do. You know, what is his job to do with holding up the project, holding up funding for the project? Okay, now we got calls. I want you to call in, so we got somebody calling in. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
This is Councilman Bond.
Yeah.
Calling.
Yes, how you?
Show.
Yes, how you doing? Good to hear your voice. We were waiting to hear from you. So we were talking now. Thank you.
I apologize. I am in transit and caught in
traffic
up here.
Yeah, we're celebrating Juneteenth. This is Juneteenth weekend and Father's Day weekend, so we know Atlanta is being busy with traffic and events for both occasions. So, but we thank you and want to say Happy Father's Day and Happy Juneteenth to you too, Councilman. And we want to thank you for calling in. Would you talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the city council? Because we got a live audience here that want to hear from you.
All right. Thank you, Reverend, and Happy Father's Day and Happy Juneteenth to all your viewers. Well, what our situation is that we have introduced legislation and passed it in the month of April, accepting the schematics and costs and the proposal for the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Memorial designated to be constructed in Piedmont Park. What we ran into I wouldn't say a brick wall, but we ran into an obstacle, is acquiring the funding. Typically, improvements in parks in Atlanta come from what is known as the Park Improvement Fund. It is a separate millage rate outside of the general fund millage rate, collected specifically for the development, maintenance of Atlanta's parks. According to our CFO, the funds are there, and they're unencumbered, so that we have access to them. But what the issue that was raised to me this week, after I attempted on Wednesday to add an amendment to the city's budget to acquire the funds, and it's a round figure of $600,700 for the for the construction of the memorial. We had a meeting that following day, which was Thursday, with some of the representatives from the mayor's office and the finance department, law department, and the parks department. Parks department is raising objections to, I guess, encumbering the money prior to the approval by the national group. I'm sorry, the group from D.C. I think it was the National
Park Service.
I can't remember.
Park Service.
Yeah. That's the National Service Office, because they haven't given final approval to the project. Now, I've been in office for just over 20 years, 2 different stints. Worked for city government since 1989. And so even though we're waiting on the approval, there's no reason why we can't encumber this money, and set it aside. This is the largest budget the city's ever had. And again, the funds really, they don't even come from the regular city budget. The funds come from the Park Improvement Fund, which is collected separately from the city's general fund, and the funds are there. So that is the issue of what they said, that they were unwilling to support us appropriating the money And so what I would be asking all veterans to do, regardless of whether they're veterans of Vietnam War or whatever period of service that they had, would be to reach out to the Atlanta City Council, reach out to the mayor's office, and tell them we want this project funded now.
Okay.
Because even if, let's say, I anticipate that the national office is going to approve the project, but even if they didn't, for Piedmont Park, and we do have the approval of, Piedmont Park has a conservancy that's contracted to manage the park, and we have their blessing and approval for the project. The memorial is going to go somewhere in Atlanta if it doesn't go to Piedmont Park, worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to get built, and, this is, the opposition we're facing is really not even real opposition, in my opinion. I mean, it is just arbitrary not to escrow this money. And so I'd ask veterans everywhere to contact City Hall, contact the mayor's office in particular, and let them know we want this project funded as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Bond. Everybody was, the live audience is here listening at this, and I'm sure all of our viewers, because we had put out a SOS on this announcement from you to tell us what we needed to do. And today, we're looking at just coming down to City Council as one of the steps that we will do.
Absolutely.
On Tuesday. And we are making sure that veterans all over the county now know that this memorial represent those that gave all, and it stands as a symbol in our community for an appreciation for those that gave their sons. These are people that came out of Atlanta, East Point, College Park, Union City. And it's a call to unity for this democracy, because this is the kind of arbitrary kind of stuff that we see in undeveloped countries. This is not supposed to be happening in the United States of America, especially when it comes down to those of us that have served to make sure that everybody got freedoms to grow and develop equally. And these young men paid the ultimate price for these freedoms. And we thank you for helping us making it a local issue, because this is the first in the country. I mean, we got memorials in every major city right now, in the state of Georgia and in the United States, but they're not really telling the story the way that we're telling the story for these young men. We're not just building a memorial in Piedmont Park. We are going into the communities, bringing the community together, getting volunteers to address some of the issues that these young men, would want addressed in their communities. so that we can get automatic weapons out of the streets, so that we can mentor young men to grow into manhood and good citizens, and to make sure that those young men and women that are going into the military out of our communities, every graduating high school year, we still sending our young people into the military. So we know that they appreciate you, and we want you to know that veterans also appreciate what you're doing for us. So thank you. Anybody got any questions?
Well, thank you very much for that. But this is about the sacrifice, as you so eloquently stated, for those who gave all.
Yes.
And everyone, regardless whether you have served in the military or not, owes them a debt. And we need to do everything that we can in our power to try to make this happen as soon as possible.
Thank you. And we are. I'm sure the veteran community appreciate it. We're gonna show up Tuesday. We showing up now by we done burnt up Wang's email and his phone. So we want to come down there Tuesday so that they can look us in the face with this. We want
to make sure that people arrive by 12:30. The meeting starts at 1.
Okay.
But you got to sign in before the meeting.
Okay.
And they put the sign-in sheet out there at 12:30. Once the meeting starts, you're not able to sign in.
Okay. All right.
So they need to show up early to make sure that they're on the list.
Okay, we'll be there. And I think that the listeners hearing you, and we thank you, because our subject today is that we got to be careful with what we do with our vote. We just got to be careful with some of the people that we are voting, especially into local politics right now, because our democracy is under threat, not just with voter suppression, but this gerrymandering of voting districts is cheating us out of the power of our vote. So we want to thank you for standing up for us and with us. So thank you. Anybody in the audience got something they want to say to? Okay. No, you got to take your mask off, brother.
I want to ask a question. Who is protesting against what y'all trying to do? What is his name?
Well, he's the chairman of the finance committee. Okay. He's I think
Alex Wan.
Yeah, Alex Wan.
Okay.
I think he's the 4th district. Isn't that right? He's the 4th district. So
he's in district number 6 on the east side of the city.
Okay. So we need to go into his district. So we're veterans. So we thank you for that. One more question.
Who is these people who was in the back of the truck that you mentioned?
Oh, that was out of state. That
who are they?
They're neo-Nazis, as far as the news say.
Skinheads?
Neo-Nazis, similar, same thing, but different groups.
Right.
Yeah. And this kind of stuff.
I really asked the question because I was late hearing this. I didn't know who they was,
Yeah. But this is the kind of toxic stuff that we're finding with candidates that running for office, and people are allowing them in some cases to be elected to office, because if it weren't so, we wouldn't have the kind of stuff in the Georgia General Assembly that we have. That we just got to be careful with how we vote. We got to vote for people in our community that we can see in our community. When I go to my park where I grew up at Washington Park, I see Councilman Bowman. I see people that when I go out in Fulton Industrial, I see Marvin Arrington Jr. They're in the community with us, bringing information and bringing gather things in the community that we can gather around, that we can all agree on, that work together to make a better community. So we got to keep this up. We cannot stop. So they can expect us down at Atlanta City Hall on Tuesday. They can expect veterans to stand up and be planning to vote and the upcoming elections on local levels, and focusing to make sure that we rid our government of these imposters. They're not for the democracy. And anytime you got somebody that say they know more than the generals, and we got a bunch of people following, that's saying a lot against our military. And we need to understand these buzzwords that these people are shooting out that cause these neo-Nazis and whoever else in government that they got in government to do away with our system of government while we watch. We can no longer be quiet about it. Veterans, not in Fulton County, not in the state of Georgia, not in the USA, because what we serve for is under threat. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you so much. And next time we're gonna fix it so you'll be here, so people can really talk.
It's completely my fault, and I'm sorry that I'm not there present with you.
Yeah,
I am with you.
Yeah,
And I look forward to seeing as many veterans that can be mustered to be there Tuesday at 12:30 to sign in and speak.
Okay, we're gonna be there. We'll be there. So thank you. And next time we talk, we want to know a little bit about reentry, because that's an issue in our community that we're not addressing. And we want to thank you for your involvement with that issue of reentry.
Okay, absolutely. Well, happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
God bless you all.
God bless you. Now
bye-bye.
Now you guys heard it from the horse's mouth. We have got to be in Atlanta City Council on Tuesday at 12:30. Now I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the Marines on y'all. See, I got a Marine that always early. He's always early, so he gonna be commanding the post Tuesday. We're gonna be commanding the post, so we're gonna show up down there. Not just the people that listening. We're gonna get on our phone and tell people to come down there. Get our friends, get our buddies, get our family members, because it ain't just got to be people that's in the military. We're talking about families that's going through it with us. We belong to our family. These guys that we represent belong to families.
Amen.
We got to come out of this. It don't bother me. It ain't none of my business. It is your business. It's your business. You are your brother's keeper. In the military, we learned to have each other back, and we weren't concerned about what color the skin of the person that was with us. We learned how to live together, work together, fight together, and die together. We just gonna have to get there, folks. We cannot keep acting like this is not our country, this is not our community, this is not our problem. It is our country. It is our problem. And we got the solution to most of it. We just need to come together. We got to stop listening to the media that's going to tell us that Biden policies is causing inflation. Biden do this and Biden do that. Listen, we have to look at the problems that we got in our community and face the truth about them. Business is causing inflation. They're the only people that own stores. That's who raising the price. But I'm going to tell you something. Dr. King gave us the solution to that a long time ago. Is let them keep their product. Don't go to the store. Don't buy what they got. We're going to have to learn how to use them community gardens that we got. We're going to have to learn how to not let people lie to us when we're looking at them. This is Veterans Talk. It's been a great pleasure. And wait, now, I got some audience in here that I always like to talk to people in the audience because they come in. Now, my cousin done got up and left. He's the one that raising all these questions. But I got somebody here that I need to say something about, because this is my daughter, my spiritual daughter. And you know why I would make her my daughter? Because she take care of my son, my spiritual son, who's a Marine that I just got through talking about. He the guy that always show up early. If he gonna show up, he gonna show up early. But he has some medical issues out of Camp Lejeune that they still playing with in the Congress today. See, we got to be careful what we do with our vote. See, this Camp Lejeune stuff should have been settled. Well, the Agent Orange stuff ain't been settled yet either. They playing with it in Congress. They got a bill up there now called the Agent Orange Act for Thailand. This bill is supposed to recognize that Agent Orange was used in Thailand 50 years ago. But there are over 40 other locations that they ain't got in the bill. We got to be careful what we vote for. They know that they done medically link hypertension to exposure for Agent Orange. And they don't have it on the presumptive list yet. This was linked over 8 years ago. Why are they doing this small minority the way they're doing us? I shouldn't be getting calls from a family at VA with a veteran that's suffering from an illness that was caused by his exposure to Agent Orange, and they're not treating him in a way that his family, they want to take him out of the VA. His family don't even feel comfortable leaving him there because of the bedside manners of the VA. They didn't give the family no encouragement. Daughter, I done gone off on the channel. I'm talking to my daughter now. I know she don't want to say nothing, but she will, because she know I was gonna say something, because she's on the phone, so she gonna talk to the audience, say something, pull the mask off, daughter, and just tell people. Listen, I remember you running up and down the highway from Washington D.C. to Georgia, all in hotels for your husband.
Yes.
Talk to us.
The veterans, they go through a lot. They take you through a lot, but you got to be able to deal with them because they have problems when they come from the military, army, or whatever. They have problems, and you really have to be strong to deal with them. Because they don't mean no harm.
No.
But they might snap at you in a minute.
Don't say that to Lyve, because my daughter done told me she was scared of me.
Yeah,
so,
they don't know you,
they don't know the illnesses that y'all see every day. See, the problem with VA make decisions based on a 30-minute evaluation by a psychiatrist that ain't never seen you. They don't never talk to the family. They don't never talk to the family. The family is what deal with us every day in ways that VA could never see. Could never see. And then we get all these different medications. We don't know when they're working against us.
Don't know if they're killing you or not.
So so next week we're gonna be talking about this caretaker's benefit that left this whole generation of veterans excluded. They coming up in October though, and we got to make sure that our families are ready to get these benefits. That's what I mean when I write my book about shortchange. We being shortchanged, folks. All this $200+ billion a year that's allocated in the name of veterans. We need to know who we voting for.
That's right. Caregivers need that money.
Caregivers need that money.
What they go through.
Listen, what we got to talk about too with the caregivers' money is the impact of the caregivers' care. The caregivers' care. Listen, you can transmit PTSD. Let a person be subject to it long enough. I done ran off too many people. so it's something I'm able to laugh about, to keep from crying about. Because not only am I a victim of it, my brothers are victims of it. My sisters are victims of it. Their families are victims of it. And we don't have the care at the VA that matters. It really has to matter. We got to be able to look past what people telling us sometimes and see what they're doing. Say, don't be concerned about what they say. Be concerned about what they're doing. Because a lot of times people tell you who they are. We need to believe them. You know, for real. We need to just believe them and get some kind of guidance. You know, I'm a preacher, so I believe my guidance is the Word of God. So y'all just have to bear with me, because I'm not gonna get away from that. I don't care what y'all say. It's something that I believe, and it has been everything to me. Having a faith that let me be honest with myself. You know, be honest with myself about my condition and about what kind of impact my condition had on my family. I'm concerned with it. It hurts me to hurt them. And until I understood PTSD, I didn't know how to deal with that. So I put some distance between me and my family. They call that isolating. Well, you isolate when you don't want to hurt the person that you love. Mm-hmm. But there are treatment modalities that could help us do better, but in some states it's illegal. I'm gonna get my son on him one day when he get back and form, so he can talk about the impact of this contaminated water that these brothers had to drink. The contaminated water. So we had another Saturday. And we're going to do this until I can't do it no more, or till we can't do it no more, because we need to have a voice in our community. And we are the voice for veterans in the ATL. I don't care whether people like it or not. You know, and then next week we're going to pull some stuff up on this caregiver that going to make everybody go out and file for the caregiver's benefit like they should. Like they should. You know, because in October, just around the corner, we just get ready for it so you can have a sweep. You know, we ain't gonna wait. We're gonna be proactive with this. So next week we're gonna get some details of what you got to do. First of all, I want you if you ain't got an intent to file, get ready to file an intent to file. That's gonna be your first step, and then we're gonna go into the qualifications, the elements that you got to do. Only got to be 70%. You don't even have to be 100% to get it. So don't be shortchanged. You know, don't. Okay, we got to close it out today. Next week we'll be back here doing the same thing that we be trying to do every week. Make sense out of a sensitive situation. And we're gonna close out tomorrow. I see people that I need to see in my church. I see people that I need to see in my community, because we're doing virtual tomorrow. But I want to say this to everybody. Be careful. Be concerned with who you vote for. It got to, and we got to put more effort on getting everybody we know to vote. Everybody. You know, we can't just sit around and act like we don't know how important the vote is. Get ready for November like you've never been ready for November before. We got to sweep it away. We got to overwhelm it. That's the way you do it. You know, if we come out and go to the poll, they can't win. Those that's against us can't stand. But we got to stand. We got to stand and say, this is our country too. And this is the way we got to have it work. So I want to thank all of you for being here today. Want you to, use the phone now next week. Call in at 740-251-4343. This is the way you get in the conversation. And we want you in the conversation because I might say something that you don't agree with. I like debates, you know. I like for people to make, if I'm not making sense out of it, they help me. Because I'm trying to get this message out to veterans and their families that you got benefits you ain't getting. You know, you got help that you don't know about. And not only are we going to show you that, we're going to help you get there. Because next week we're going to have Robert Dukes on stage. We're going to try to get him. He's in the studio today, but we didn't pay because he's a national service officer. We're going to have people here to talk about claims because we're getting ready for caregivers benefits and the ATL, y'all.
Amen.
Okay. See you next week.